Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another video. In this one, we're going to be diving into my GPP plays, or at least favorite contrarian plays of this Sunday's main slate for the NFL Week 8 here on Draftkings. Cannot wait to get into this one with you. There's actually a few game stacks that I'm on for my GPP plays this week. I have some specific salary-saving plays or tournament value plays that I'll go over with you as well. As always, if you have not already, please do leave a like on this video. I greatly appreciate it. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them in the comment section below, whether it's DraftKings, FanDuel, Yahoo, any DFS site, or season-long fantasy questions. I am happy to give y'all advice when I can. Now, let's jump into this. There are a couple, like I said, game stacks that I do want to mention. Right here at the top, we can see, the list of the games going on in the main slate. I'm pretty set on a few games that I want to target a little bit of, pieces from, I guess, and kind of combine them into lineups, mix and match, and make quite a few lines this Sunday. I want quite a bit of exposure to this Philly-Buffalo game. I think this could be a pretty sneaky shootout. It's either going to be a 17-13 sort of game, or it could shoot out for sure. 28-31 wouldn't be out of the realm of possibilities. So I like the Buffalo passing game a lot. I also think the Philly passing game is going to go very underowned with Wentz and Ertz. So I did want to mention that real quick. And with Wentz's tag, it's actually it's pretty enticing. I think he's going to be like 2% owned or something is what I'm projecting right now in the $25 plus GPPs. Another game that I was on in my early look, I don't even know if I mentioned it in the video. I don't remember what was in that video, but I actually kind of like the Chicago and the Chargers game. The Chicago offense, believe it or not, Trubisky, when healthy, has put up like 20 points in his last two games that he was healthy. And at 4,900, I think that's a pretty sweet value. So if you were to take him and then load up on your positional players, I don't hate that, especially against the Chargers defense, who has looked very lackluster. And then maybe run it back with like Mike Williams with Keenan Allen out. I almost want to start Keenan Allen, or I almost want to call Mike Williams a lock this week with Keenan Allen out. But that offense was so shady last week, it's hard to put all my bread in that basket. I also really like the Giants and the Lions game. The Giants-Lions, that could definitely be a competitive game. Tough to say it as a Lions fan, but with how average I guess they've both looked, I'm definitely on that game as a pretty sneaky shootout. Other than that, obviously the Oakland-Houston game is on a lot of people's radar. The Carolina-San Fran game, I'm hoping stays very low scoring. I'm not going to have much McCaffrey. And the Tennessee Air game against Tampa Bay is also very appealing. With that said, I think my favorite quarterback to play out of those games at a point per dollar price is going to be either 6,100 Matthew Stafford, who I think is pretty sweet at that price actually, against that Giants passing defense. He's going to have Kenny Golladay in a great bounce back spot that makes for one of my favorite tournament plays this week. Hopefully a lot of people are on starving Marvin Jones after that 4 touchdown week. This is the type of week where we play Golladay. Galladay's got the better matchup. And he just had a dud week, so this is a really good spot for Kenny Golladay. Hopefully, you get him at some lower ownership, and pairing him up with Stafford. If Stafford has a ceiling game, which is very, very possible against this very bad Giants defense, then that's all we need. So that's what we're hoping for. I am looking to play kind of cashy at running back actually in most of my tournaments. My player pool, I'll give you like my core 4 is going to be Marlon Mack, Chris Carson, Todd Gurley, and probably Saquon Barkley up top. If for a lineup like this, where we're taking a few pieces from this Detroit Giants game, kind of a mini stack, I would like to go ahead and grab Saquon. That way we are running it back with somebody. And with Damon Snacks Harrison, I believe, still out for the Lions, Saquon should be able to go for 100 yards on the ground this game, I believe. Dalvin probably would not have done that last week if Damon Snacks had not gotten hurt, but we won't talk about that. And then I think Chris Carson's probably just my favorite spot this week. Should beat the Falcons pretty comfortably. His usage is through the roof, and the Falcons still are just not that good at defending opposing running backs. If we were to play that in, I do want to mention my favorite 2, I'll mention one over here and one on FanDuel, but my favorite 2 salary-saving tight ends for tournaments are going to be Jonnu Smith for Tennessee, getting the start with Delaney Walker out at 2,800. You can't beat that value for a starting tight end that will see some targets. And then on the other side of the ball, Cameron Brate at 2,700. I'm okay with either one of them. It's kind of a dart throw, but these are specifically for tournaments. You're paying down, and if these guys, if they get a touchdown or God forbid 50 yards and a touchdown or 2 touchdowns, and you get them at that price tag and they smash their value like that, you're going to be looking very, very solid. I am definitely looking to pay up for defense this week. One defense I don't think I mentioned in my cash video, I did want to mention because I think I forgot, was the Panthers defense at 2,400. I think that's like my favorite defense this week. I mean, just look at their recent numbers, the offenses they've played. The Niners offense is not that elite. They're a solid team. They're very well rounded there in San Francisco. But I'm okay with taking the Panthers defense and hoping at 2,400 that they get me at least like 7 or 8 points. So I wanted to mention that. I'm also okay with it in tournaments, to be honest, because they can make plays happen. Touchdowns can always happen, things like that. But I am definitely probably looking to pay up in most of my tournament lineups. And the offenses or the defenses I'm really looking to target are going to be the Rams, the Bears, and the Buffalo Bills. I know I just mentioned the Philly passing game, but at the same time, you have to base it off of how they've looked so far this year. I don't think the Bills' D is a horrible play. I'm personally going to be looking to get the Rams' defense in most of my lineups. I just think at 3,800 with their matchup, obviously they were pretty average most of the year. Now they have Jalen Ramsey. They have this big game, and they're also playing just one of the worst offenses. So it just makes sense to me to try and pay up for them. Hopefully everybody else is just saying like, I'll forget the 300 savings. I'm just going to go ahead and play New England. But other than that, now let's finish off wide receiver. At wide receiver, though, there are a couple value guys that I do kind of like. If we come down the list a little bit, I want to mention real quick 5,600 Calvin Ridley. Obviously, with Sanu gone, he should see an uptick in targets. A lot of people, kind of like with the Denver situation where Emmanuel Sanders wasn't getting a boatload of targets, and I'm saying Cortland Sutton should see an uptick. A lot of people disagree. They're like, Sanders wasn't getting targets anyway. Sanu wasn't getting that many targets. I understand that, but Calvin Ridley will still see a boost in his targets. He should anyway. I'm definitely more on him to get an uptick than somebody like Justin Hardy. So I do like Calvin Ridley quite a bit. But it's hard for me at 4,500, if he plays, obviously, to not want to play D.D. Westbrook. At 4,500 with this target volume, it's kind of a lock, like in everything. I mean, if I pay 4,500 and he has an 8.3-point game off 8 targets, that's just unlucky to me. So I mean, it's really just unlucky. If he gets 8 targets, he should be getting at least 10 plus fantasy points. Hopefully more than that. But at 4,500, that's just way too cheap. Dirt cheap. And then that brings me to what I mentioned when I was going through the game stacks. Having a little bit of exposure to this Tennessee passing game might not be bad for you, especially going against Tampa, who's been elite against the run and horrendous against the pass. I prefer Corey Davis over A.J. Brown. I'm pretty sure most people probably do, even though A.J. Brown is had a very similar target share. I'm going to lean Corey Davis just at the extra $300 and plug him in for this. But it's kind of your pick of the two. I just think that if we take a couple pieces from this Tampa-Tennessee game, a couple pieces from this Detroit Giants game, kind of a chalky running back, and then obviously stacking a wide receiver with your quarterback, it's got a lot of positive correlation in this lineup. You're playing basically a few games, and then in your flex, this is where it's kind of up to you. I like Allen Robinson a lot more than most people do this week against the Chargers. He doesn't have the easiest matchup, but I think he's too talented not to enjoy in this spot. John Brown, probably my favorite play here in this range. John Brown he's playing the worst secondary in the league, arguably, and he's just been super consistent this year. Pretty safe play all around. I like to play wide receivers in my flex in tournaments, but Marlon Mack definitely probably the safest play right here in your flex. So jump on over to FanDuel real quick. I did plug in some spots just because I wanted to show you guys the value that I'm looking at over here. Most of the plays I talk about on DraftKings apply to FanDuel. There are specific value plays like these guys that apply more so to FanDuel for me. I wanted to mention Jonnu and Brait again. Both of them still at solid price tags. I prefer both of them over here at tight end for your tournament lineups at least. But when you look at it, though, it's like maybe just paying up to get Olsen, Ebron, or somebody said I don't like Ebron this week. I don't know if where is he on this list? Jack Doyle. I haven't gotten a health update on Jack Doyle. I guess he's playing. He was like a surprise pop-up on the injury report or something, so I wasn't sure if he was going to play. But regardless, though, Ty Johnson over here is a lock at 5,200. Way, way, way too cheap. Going to be getting the start. We saw what Chase Edmonds did to that Giants team. I think Ty Johnson's just kind of a FanDuel lock in almost every format. I put Mohamed Sanu in here. It's pretty much the only different player. Sanu is just worth a dart throw to me on FanDuel at this price tag. Playing with this new team, I think that it's worth it. It could come back to bite me, but if Edelman misses, then I'm really looking to take some dart throws with Mohamed Sanu on FanDuel this week. But that really is all I have for you that's FanDuel specific. I need to try to spread it out a little bit more, I think, and save some certain plays for FanDuel and maybe half the lineup on Draftkings, half of it on FanDuel or something. But we'll get better as time goes on. Those are my favorite value plays on FanDuel. And then, again, if you guys do have any questions for me, I am happy to get back to you on it. I hope you enjoy the content I've been pushing out. I really appreciate all your feedback, all your support, and I will see you all tomorrow morning with my Sunday Night Football Showdown video. Good luck to everybody on Sunday.